Welcome to part 2 of this tutorial where we will finally connect all pieces and make our Telegram plant bot fully functional. In this video, we'll write the complete Node.js code that listens to incoming messages in Telegram, accepts plant photos, sends them to Plant.id API for identification, displays the plant's name, confidence, description to the user, and finally lets the user save the result into Google Sheets if they want to. By now, we have initialized our Node.js project and installed all the necessary dependencies. But just in case you haven't done that yet, here's a quick recap. Create a new folder for your project. Inside that folder, run npm init-y to generate a basic package JSON file. Then install dependencies. You can see them on the screen. Next, make sure your main file is named index.js. This is where we will write all the core logic for our Telegram bot. Also, in your package.json, add this line to enable modern JavaScript syntax with import and export, and that is this one here, type modules. Also, I want to make sure you have .env file. If you haven't create this file in the root of your project. This is where we will store all the API keys and tokens securely. If you followed part 1 of this tutorial, you should already have your Telegram token, Plant.id API key, and Google Sheets credentials ready to paste in. If not, go back and watch part 1 first. I walk through everything step by step. You will find the link in the description below. Let's add get to our gitignore file. Create it if you don't have it, so that sensitive data is not committed to GitHub if you choose to commit it to GitHub. Let me go ahead and create 2 empty helper files inside utils folder. So we have our utils folder, and we will create empty files, Plant.js and Google Sheet.js. We're not filling them out yet, but this gives us a clean structure to work on later. Now let's start with the simplest version of the bot, just to make sure everything is working. We will load environment variables from .env file, import .env config. We will import Telegram bot API wrapper, import Telegram bot, and then let's create new bot instance using token from our .env file. Polling true means bot will continuously check for new messages. Then we will confirm things are working by console logging. We will say bot is running. And now I'll paste the code. We tell the bot that what we do when someone types a command start. This is like a handshake, so to say. The bot replies with a welcome message. This message will be sent to the user when they type command start in the chat. But I came with a little problem here. I have a mistaken type in my package JSON. Now I need to make sure it's spelled correctly. So let's go to our Telegram, type start, and we can see our bot sends us exactly the message that we have set in our code. Now that our bot responds to start command, we are ready to build the next part, and that is handle plant photos. We are using Telegram bot class, which comes from Node.js Bot API library. This gives us access to a lot of powerful methods and event listeners like on, which you saw or you will see on photo. Whenever the bot receives a message, Telegram sends us an object filled with details. And here we refer MSG to message. This message object has a lot of useful data, like for example chat ID, which tells who sent the message, so we know where to reply. For example, message photo, which contains an array of images in different sizes, or a message from, for example, which includes user info like their name, Telegram ID. To better understand what Telegram sends, you can log the entire message using console log. Alright, before we continue writing photo handling logic in our index.js, we need a helper function that can actually send the plant photo to Plant.id API and return the identification result. So let's head over to Plant.id.js file, which is in our utils folder, and write a new function. We'll give it a name, identify plant. Identify plant takes image URL as input. We will have a try-catch block to handle errors clearly. Now let's write code to download images from Telegram. We write Axios get and then image input. We are awaiting it and saving it into response. So we are awaiting an image. Response type will be array buffer, since it's a binary image file. Then we convert raw binary data to base64 format, which what Plant.id API is expecting from image input. Next is send base64 image to Plant.id. So we sent a post request to official Plant.id endpoint using Axios post method, and so here is what we are sending. We are sending our API key from .env file for authentication. We are sending image in base64 format, which is inside an array. A few modifiers to speed up the process, like crops fast, and we request specific plant details like common name, description from Wikipedia. Plant.id returns a list of suggestions, and we are only interested in the top match, which is usually the most accurate. So we take the first item in the array. Now let's check confidence score. So the confidence is a score from Plant API that tells us how sure the model is about its identification. So a confidence of 0.9 means 90% sure, and 0.4 means 40% sure. So in this code here, we check if the suggestion is missing or if the confidence is below 0.5 or 50%. If so, we don't trust the result and we return success false. So our bot can ask the user to try again with a better photo. Now this is the final part of our identify plant function. Once we have confirmed that the result from Plant ID is valid and confident enough, we return a custom object back to index.js. Let's break down what we are returning here. Success true lets the rest of the code know that the identification worked. A species, this is the name of the plant. Then we have confidence. We discussed that already. Plant ID scores between 0 and 1. This tells us how sure it is about the identification. And then we have a description. We are trying to get a short description from Wikipedia. If it's not available, we just return a fallback message. If there is a source or a link for the description, we include it also. Usually it's a Wikipedia URL. Let's get back to index.js and finish the photo handling logic. We will integrate identify plant function we have just wrote in Plant.id.js. So now we will import identify plant from utils Plant.id.js. For me, it's imported automatically. You can see up top, it's coming from utils Plant.id.js. In this what this function that we are writing is doing, we are receiving a photo, sending it to external API, processing the result, and replying with useful data of the plant. So in identify plant function, we pass the image URL from Telegram and it returns result object with all the plant information. If Plant ID didn't find a match here, where the confidence level was too low, photo was too blurry, we are passing text unable to identify plant, try again, another photo. This will prevent the bot from sending confusing or low quality result. It's better to ask for a cleaner image than to guess wrongly. Now let's write down the piece of code if the photo was successful. If the plant was identified, we will prepare a message in this case. I'm going to copy and paste for quicker process. So what's going on here is we have result species, plant name, then of course the confidence, which was explained earlier, description of the plant, and the source of the plant. And now let's save the message. We'll integrate send message function here. So we will have chat ID, which tells the bot which user to send message to, and the result with the information about the plant if everything works just fine, as well as two buttons to save to Google Sheet or not to save to Google Sheet, but we will do that later. Let's test first. So while testing, I came to the message unable to identify the plant. Try another photo. That's because of this endpoint right here. So instead of identification, we need to say identify in Plant.id.js. Even though the documentation was saying identification with v3 version. So that didn't work for me as well. API endpoint that you see right now works. Let's test again. We'll stop and start our server and see how our Telegram bot responds. We'll say start command. We are getting the message from Telegram, pasting the image, and we are getting the result of the image. So to speed up a little bit, I'm going to copy and paste code into Google Sheets.js. You can always use ChatGPT or feel free to follow me. So essentially what we are doing here, we are importing Google from Google APIs. Then we are importing JSON from Google Auth library, which allows bot to access Google Sheets securely. Then we create authenticated session to access Google Sheets. The code you see with the const auth new JWT. Then we have const sheets, which is equal to Google Sheets method. This creates a Sheets client using Google Sheets API. And the authenticated session we just set up. And then we have this function append to sheet. So this function append to sheet receives species and info. So species, the plant name, info, the formatted string with description and source. We are using regular expression to extract a description line from info and source link. The append function and everything inside this function does the actual writing. Let's go back to our index.js file. There is a little bit of a bug. We will refactor a little. Initially, when we wrote this line of code, we have wrote it inside bot on photo handler, and that should not be the case, because when we end up sending a photo, then we're sending another photo and saving it to Google Sheets, and then it's saying photo saved to Google Sheets 2 times, and it should not be the case. So let's refactor. So what we will do is we will create a temporary session store, const user session equal to new map. This lets us track the plant identification result for each user, one at a time. So bot on callback query is spaced outside of bot on photo handler. This handle button responds only once per user. We'll add user session set function, chat ID, result, info. Also make sure that your map function or the user session is at the very top before bot instance. Now let's test and see how our app works.